Hello and welcome to week 5 of Controlling Your Temper. My name's Kerry Ross and this is Carol Richards.
The aims of today's session are to understand the difference between passive, assertive and aggressive communication and to learn assertiveness techniques. What is assertiveness? Well, it's a communication style which allows you to express your thoughts, feelings and beliefs in an open manner without violating the rights of others. We can see from the diagram that there are a range of different communication styles. Passive communication is when we violate our own rights and always put the needs of others first. Aggressive communication is the opposite. It is when we violate the rights of others and always put our own needs first. Passive-aggressive communication is when we violate the rights of others and our own rights at the same time. We will look at each of these communication styles in more detail. The verbal characteristics of passive communication are speaking in long, rambling sentences, being hesitant, apologising when not needed, and providing many justifications. I might be wrong, but. Common non-verbal characteristics are looking down, being slouched, covering your face, and giving little or no eye contact. A passive person may think things like, people will think badly of me or not like me if I say how I really feel. If I say no, I might upset someone, and I don't count, or my opinion doesn't count. The advantages of being passive are that you can be praised by family or friends for being a good sport. You can also avoid conflict with others, which can reduce stress in the short term. Unfortunately, being passive can also have disadvantages. Being passive can sometimes cause a build-up of anger, which might cause you to explode later in an aggressive manner. People can make unreasonable demands of you. You may get stuck in relationships that are unhealthy or difficult to change. Over time, it may cause or contribute to a loss of self-esteem. Now, the verbal characteristics of aggressive communication. These are being abrupt, having a sarcastic, cold or harsh tone, emphasising blaming words, using threats, put-downs or labelling people, using threatening questions. And the non-verbal characteristics, usually things like staring the other person out, crossing your arms and being generally unapproachable, striding around impatiently, or invading the personal space of others. Examples of aggressive thinking can be things like, they should respect me, I'm right and they're wrong. I'm not giving in. This kind of thinking can trigger or maintain aggressive communication. So let us look at the costs and benefits of aggressive communication. Firstly, the benefits can be that things tend to go your way. You may get the feeling of being in control and you may feel a release of tension. However, there are costs to communicating aggressively. You may be more likely to create enemies and resentment in those around you. People may be scared of you. It can be more difficult to relax when trying to control others. And finally, being aggressive may bring about feelings of guilt or shame, which may impact on your overall self-esteem. Now let's look at passive-aggressive communication, which is sometimes termed as non-verbal aggression. Just to recap, passive-aggressive communication is where we are unhappy or annoyed with someone or something, but choose not to communicate that to the person in a direct way. So the verbal characteristics are denying there's a problem, saying or muttering something under your breath, telling everyone else you're unhappy but not telling the person. And the non-verbal characteristics are usually things like avoiding eye contact, sulking, making faces. And the kind of thinking that goes alongside passive-aggressive communication could be things like, if I sulk, then they will know I'm angry and get the message that they're in the wrong. They should know I'm angry and that this is just unfair. Or, poor me, if you believe you've been treated unfairly and are feeling sorry for yourself. The benefits of passive-aggressive communication are that it can feel more comfortable or less anxiety-provoking than being outwardly aggressive or confrontational. There are many costs, however, to being passive-aggressive. Not communicating why you are angry can lead to a build-up of resentment over time. This kind of communication rarely gets you what you want. It can cause conflict in relationships, and people may end up viewing you as a difficult person. And finally, it can make you seem unapproachable to others. Weighing up the costs and benefits, it would seem that passive-aggressive communication has many more costs than benefits. These are two pictures which we feel sum up passive-aggressive communication perfectly. Letting someone know you're annoyed, but not letting them know in a direct and assertive way. So let's look at what assertive communication really is. Well, the verbal characteristics are things like speaking in a firm, relaxed voice, having a steady and even pace, being sincere and clear, using cooperative phrases like, "What are your thoughts on this?" Using suggestions rather than demands. For example, saying, "Would you like to?" rather than "you should." The non-verbal characteristics are using direct eye contact and adopting an open body posture, staying relaxed, listening. When we are being assertive, our thinking is usually something like this: I understand they feel differently, but I hope we can talk about it and reach a compromise. The benefits of being assertive are being able to have your say without causing hostility or resentment. The chances of getting what you want greatly improve. You become more approachable. It can improve self-esteem. The costs are, well, there are no guarantees that you'll get what you want. Starting to be assertive can be difficult and may cause discomfort at first.
A technique which you can use to help you practice being assertive is the DIET technique. DIET stands for Describe, Impact, Emotion and the Future. It involves 4 simple steps as follows. Describe the person's behaviour. Impact that behaviour has on you. Emotion, how the behaviour makes you feel. And the future, how you would prefer them to behave. This is how it would sound in practice. When you leave the house without doing your dishes, it means I have to do them before making lunch, which leaves me in a rush. I end up feeling frustrated and flustered. It would be helpful in the future if you could do them in the morning, as it would save me a lot of time. Let's look at how it would work for Peter, who we have talked about in previous sessions. To jog your memory, Peter is a 44-year-old man who has noticed he is becoming angry when dealing with his son's teacher at school. At a recent parents' evening, he found himself becoming angry and shouting at the teacher when she commented on his son's reading skills. When Peter was at school, he was criticised by one of his teachers and made to read in front of the class. This is how Peter could use assertiveness techniques. When you comment on my son's reading abilities, it takes me back to when I was at school and teachers told me I wasn't very good at reading. It makes me think I'm doing a bad job at being a dad too. I end up feeling annoyed at you and angry at myself. I understand you're busy, but it might be an idea in the future if we come up with a plan together to help him with his reading. And now the broken record technique. It can be useful when someone's not taking no for an answer or when you're being met with resistance. Prepare what you're going to say and repeat it as often as necessary until you feel heard. It's useful when you're trying to say no, but the person continues to come back with the same demand. For example, someone asking for money. It's important to keep calm but stand your ground. Over the next week, you may wish to notice when you're being passive, aggressive, or passive-aggressive. Try being assertive using the techniques you have learned in this session. In the next and final session, we'll look at problem solving. We tie up the course and we'll review what we've gone over so far, and we also look at how humour can be a useful tool in controlling your temper. We'll see you next time.